All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Eve Bultax. I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner based in Boston, and I'm also a sounder sleep system teacher, newly trained as of July with Paris. So I've gone through the program. And this will be the second training that I'm organizing with Paris. And I'm going to just read a little bit of her bio so you get a sense of who she is. All right, so Paris Kern is a singer, communicator, community builder, and teacher. She's she's been a sounder sleep system teacher since 1999, when its creator, Michael Krugman, completed his first teacher training. She has also been a Feldenkrais practitioner since 1992 and has attained the highest professional certification as a designated Feldenkrais teacher trainer. Paris's trainings, Paris's trainings have reached people in Asia, Australia, South and North America, Great Britain, Europe, and the Near East. This growing number of new sounder sleep system teachers around the globe inspires more and more people to learn this wonderful system. Paris is a steady and inspiring presence who brings a compassionate and lighthearted manner to her work. She has the ability to simplify complex theories and principles of the sounder sleep system and the Feldenkrais method. Through stories and demonstrations, she demystifies challenging concepts and brings a common sense approach to her work. So thanks everyone for being here, and I'll hand it over to Paris.
Hello, that's kind of weird listening to your bio being read while you're sitting there. It's a little embarrassing. Hello, Anna. Haven't seen you in so long. And I see several people that I know quite well, which is really lovely. If you're able to come out of the black box and let me see your face, it'd be really nice. If you can't for some reason, just please follow along and you can put your questions in the chat. So this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are, first of all, is everybody here on the East Coast in the same time zone? Is there anybody not in the 5 o'clock time frame right now? Okay, that makes it easy. Nobody's calling in from Australia. Okay, Marcia, who's driving? Oh, Kay Bourgine from France. Wonderful. No, we're not singing tonight, but we are sleeping. So, Marcia, do not do the movements while you're driving, please. I don't want you falling asleep behind the wheel. If you find that you're getting drowsy while listening, turn me off until you're in a safe space, please. Yeah. This is one thing you should never do while driving. When you're at a stop sign, maybe a moment or two. So today I'm going to take you through 3 different of the mini moves, as we call them, from Sounder Sleep. And then we'll have plenty of time for any of your questions about your own sleep situation. Hopefully, as I'm teaching, I'll be talking a little bit about the theory and how and why it works. So you have a little bit of an understanding of what's going on as you're doing the movements. So for those of you who don't know, the Sounder Sleep System is what I call a little baby cousin of the Feldenkrais method. Maybe it's even a baby child, not even a cousin. There are a few other techniques that its founder, Michael Krugman, used when he developed this body of work. But I would say 80% of his thinking and his understanding about the nervous system and human learning and human function comes from his Feldenkrais background. The other things, he was a meditator, he was a Tai Chi person, he was a yoga person, he did Qigong, many other things. But the bulk of this is based in a very Feldenkraisian scientific model. And so you don't have to have any belief system to know that there's gravity, right? There's a skeleton, there's a brain. The brain is the boss of all of our things in every part of our body. Without a brain, nothing will work, right? I think we can all agree on that. Yeah? We all agree without a brain, nothing else works? Yes. Okay, good. We've got that. You've got that. And one of the things that we know is that big, powerful movements are something that excite the nervous system. Big, deep breathing things, things that are exertion, exercise, lifting, they're all excitatory. The opposite is also true. Very small, very fine, little movements, and very quiet, easy breathing are inhibitory. And that's a word that I'll use here and there. You don't really need to understand it right now, but it just means that the brain is inhibiting all this exciting activity, and the inhibition allows the nervous system to say, oh, everything's safe, everything's calm. Maybe I can go to sleep now. So that's a very broad brush of what is behind the sound asleep system. So we're going to start with something that I'm going to invite you to lie down. If you don't feel comfortable or you can't lie down right now, if you can find a chair where you can lean back comfortably, you can do the lesson that way. The first thing we're going to do is on the back. If lying on your back is not comfortable, you can put something under your knees, have a pillow. For those of you who are Feldenkrais people, this is not a Feldenkrais lesson. It's not about how flat can I lie on the floor. You can be as comfy, as cozy, as pillowed as you wish to be. So you can have a pillow behind your head and a blanket. I would suggest that you be able to lie with your legs long. And if that's going to be a problem for your back, get a pillow or something to put behind your knees so you can let your legs be down, because you really want to allow yourself to be as quiet and easy as possible. And I would invite you to take off your glasses and just listen to my voice and not look at the screen. Looking at the screen is going to take you in the opposite direction. And Marcia, there's going to be some explanation as well, and you can listen along as long as you don't fall asleep at the wheel. So now that you're lying down and feeling yourself, just take a moment to say, am I really comfortable? Am I warm enough? Do I need support under my elbows? And how are you right now? Do you feel your breath? Don't change anything. You just notice the air coming in, the air going out, and you're all resting fairly quietly right now. So there's not a need for any deep breathing. And in fact, deep breathing is actually taking you in the opposite direction from calm and quiet. And now take your hands and put them on your lower belly and organize them so your fingertips are somewhere above your pubic bone. Your palms are flat. And if you can organize your hands so maybe your fingertips, your thumbs and your index fingers can touch each other, that's great. You can put pillows under your elbows. But if that's not comfortable or possible, if you can maybe have the middle fingers touch. And if that's not possible, just place your hands wherever it's comfortable on your lower belly. And make sure that everything feels easy and light and nice. And again, just bring your attention to the movement you feel of the breath in your belly. Feel when you breathe in, feel when you breathe out. And don't change your breath. Breathing is the easiest thing you can do. Many of us have been taught that there's a particular way to breathe. And these different breathing disciplines have a purpose and a place in life, but we're not doing that right now. You're just taking advantage of something you already know how to do, which is how you breathe and how you've breathed since you were born. It just happens. You don't have to do anything. The air just comes in and goes out. Sometimes it's a little faster, sometimes it's a little slower, sometimes it's a little deeper, sometimes it's a little shallower. And sometimes there's even a pause after you exhale. And holding your hands on your belly like this allows you to feel the breath. Your hands are very, very sensitive. You don't have to do anything with your hands except just let them be soft. Make sure your elbows are on the floor or on the bed or on a pillow so you're not holding them in the air. And you'll notice a funny thing. As you breathe in, your belly swells a little bit and rises towards the ceiling. And since your hands are resting on your belly, they're just carried by the breath. Just like a surfboard on a wave, the surfboard doesn't have to do anything. The wave just lifts the surfboard up, and then as the wave recedes, the surfboard sinks. As you breathe in, your belly swells and lifts the hands, and as you breathe out, the belly sinks and the hands sink along with it. And you may notice another interesting thing, that the contact between your fingertips, if they're touching, or the distance between your fingertips, changes. When your belly swells and rises, the fingertips move away from each other. If they're touching, the contact will get a little lighter, or the contact might even break. And then as you breathe out and your hands and belly sink, the fingertips come back together or come closer to each other again. Breathe in, the belly swells, the fingertips move apart. Breathe out, the belly sinks, and the fingertips come back together or closer together. It's the easiest thing in the world. You've been breathing your whole life. You don't need to regulate it in any way. You don't need to time it in any way. Just allow the wisdom that you already have to determine when the next breath is going to come in and when the next breath is going to go out. It's the easiest thing in the world. Take all the time you need for each breath. Take all the time you need to breathe in, and take all the time you need to breathe out. To inhale, you don't have to do anything. Just allow the breath to arrive. And your body will automatically be supplied with however much air you need. To exhale, you just allow the breath to flow out. Exhaling doesn't require any effort. Simply let yourself be at ease and the air flows out. Make no effort to breathe deeply or any other way. Intentional deep breathing can create a feeling of strain or effort. As a result, deep breathing may produce more stress than it relieves. Light, easy breathing is effortless. It counter-affects the effects of the stress. You're just taking time, feeling the breath going in and out, the fingertips coming together, moving apart. And now stop and rest and feel, and just notice how the floor or the bed or the couch or the chair feel now. Has something changed? One of the cornerstones, or the cornerstone, I should say, of the sound asleep system is what we call attended natural breathing. It's something everybody already knows how to do. Everybody knows how to breathe in and out. But paying attention to it is a different thing. Paying attention to it without interfering with it is a different thing. But it doesn't have to be perfect for our purposes. Whatever you can do is always going to be just right for this moment. And now slide your hands up a little bit, maybe to your upper abdomen, maybe to your chest, wherever you can feel another little movement of the breath. And organize your hands. Maybe you interlace the fingers, depends on where you put your hands, but just anywhere else on yourself where you feel the breath coming in and going out. You can put them on your lower ribs or on your chest, above your breasts, below your collarbones. And find a way to have some sort of interaction between the two sets of fingers. That can mean that maybe the fingers touch, maybe they're lightly interlaced, maybe they're just in close proximity with a little distance. And this part of yourself has its own way of moving. Just as the belly moves in a certain way, this other part of you has its own way of moving. As the lungs expand in this other area of your body, the ribs will swell and rise. And then as you exhale, the ribs will sink and come together. And just like on the lower belly, your hands can feel. Your hands are very, very sensitive, and your fingertips are even more sensitive. As you breathe in and the lungs and the rib cage swell as the air comes in, the relationship, the contact between the fingers and the hands will change. If your hands are on your upper chest, maybe they're interlaced a little bit and you'll feel the fingers sliding against each other. You breathe in, the fingers slide apart, the contact changes. You exhale, They come closer together, they slide back together. It's the easiest thing in the world. You don't even have to lift a finger. Simply allow the breath to come in and leave. When it comes to breathing that will induce sleep, light, easy, soft breath is what you're looking for. When you're lying down, your body doesn't need a lot of oxygen. If you're running to catch a bus, your body needs a lot more oxygen and you have to breathe appropriately at that time. But for setting the stage for sleep, we need to quiet everything down. Whatever you're doing is perfect. Now you can let your hands rest wherever they are, or you can put them down along your side and just enjoy this soft, light, slow quality of breath. If your mind starts to race, you can put your hands again in one of the places that you like and just feel the movement of the breath, focusing on the hands, the fingers coming together and moving apart. And just rest for a few more minutes. I'll continue to talk a little bit, tell a little story. In a regular workshop or training, this lesson would go on a little bit longer and people would fall asleep and there would be a nap that would follow. So Michael started this work in, I believe, 1997, 98, and I was in one of the first trainings with him, which started in Baltimore and then New York, and then he went to California, and then he went to Europe, and then he went to Hawaii. He trained all over the place. Many, many, many people. And I continued to teach workshops as I did my Feldenkrais work as well. And then in 2020, we all know what happened. And people were so stressed out that they were just flocking to find some relief. And the Sound Sleep system just lent itself to online teaching much more readily than Feldenkrais. And so I started doing teacher trainings. Michael had allowed and encouraged me and one other person, Janine Holenstein in Europe, to do teacher trainings. And so we were both doing it. She was doing it in person. I was doing it online. And I came to this work because I was always a very, very poor sleeper. It would take me forever to fall asleep. Absolutely forever. And then I would wake up and then the brain would start going. I think you all can identify with that or you wouldn't be here. And I went to my first Sounder Sleep System workshop with Michael and started falling asleep at the workshop and thinking, oh no, this is not good because if I take a nap, I will never fall asleep. Because that at night, because that was always the history. I'd take a nap and I'd wake up grumpy and then I couldn't fall asleep at all at night. Well, the opposite actually happened. I was napping on and off throughout the day in the workshop. And I went home and I went to bed at 10, which was early for me. And I just went out for 8 hours. I thought, something changed. And so I pursued doing the full training because I just couldn't get enough of it. And it's really miraculous that what we do during the day is what will affect our sleep at night. Good night, Kay, over in France. I will be starting an online European training in the new year if that's interesting to you. So I invite you now to slowly open your eyes, bend your knees. Come to wake up. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to share about this first little experience you've had, I welcome your questions, and then we'll do another little movement in sitting. So you can put your question in the chat, or you can just come off of mute and ask a question. And Eve, can you make me a co-host? It seems that that's why I can't do some things here. Thank you. So how was that for you? Your first little dipping of the toe. I think we lost a few people to sleep. I teach best when people ask questions. I'm not a great lecturer. But once people ask me a question, then my brain turns on. I think that's a product of being a off the charts extrovert, but I'm not sure. iPhone Deepak 78B5, where are you coming in from?
I can say I think yeah, feel very in a non-conscious, differently conscious state, even from that little bit.
Sounds like you're a
Yeah,
little nonverbal too.
yeah, nonverbal. We had a question earlier from June. Maybe you want to address that. She says, please address waking up at 4 a.m.
So this is a very, very common thing. First, one of the things that happen when I teach is I dispel a lot of the mythologies that people have about sleep. And one of the mythologies is that we're supposed to sleep for a solid 7, 8, 9 hours. Just go to bed, put our heads down, completely out of it until we wake up in the morning. And that is not what actually happens. We actually sleep in more or less, because it's biology, more or less 4-hour chunks. And within those 4-hour chunks, we get into a light sleep and back down into a deep sleep. And that little cycle within the 4-hour chunk is somewhere between 90 and 120 minutes. Okay, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And within that 4-hour chunk, there's a lot of little wakings up, a lot of wakings up. During the night, which is when most humans sleep, it is the first chunk of sleep, that first 4 hours, that is the deepest sleep. That's when most of the brain, I'm going to use this word brainwashing, but it doesn't mean the same thing that you think of when you say brainwashing. there is a function that happens in the brain where a lot of the detritus, the chemicals that are produced by all the activity of the brain during the day, are literally washed away. And that's mostly in that first 4 hours. That's the most important part. The second part of the night, the next 4 hour chunk or so, is going to be a lighter sleep. There's going to be more waking. That 90 to 120-minute cycle is going to happen more and more quickly. Now, people who are anxious, when they wake up, whether it's in the first half of the night or the second half of the night, they go like, oh no, expletive, which is an excitatory, stressful reaction. It's like, oh no, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping. And that's just raising the cortisol, which makes it impossible to sleep. Whereas if you understand that, oh, I'm awake, da 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 da, and I go back to sleep again. That's what happens in the second half of the night usually, is if you can be calm about that in that little awakening and not be stressed about it, the chances of falling back to sleep are much higher. In the first half of the night, if you're waking up a lot between, say, for instance, you go to bed at 10 o'clock and you wake up at 11:30 and at 12 and at 1 and at 2, you're probably never going into the big, deep sleep. You're staying in this top level of sleep and you're easily awoken, because that first stage of sleep is very light. That's when, if the cat jumps on the bed, it wakes you up. Whereas when you're in a deep sleep, the cat jumps on the bed, it doesn't wake you up. But if you're anxious about your sleep, or you're already at a very high level of stress because of whatever, when you wake up out of that light sleep, again, you're going, oh no, I'm not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, I've got to get back to sleep. And you can't get back to sleep. You might as well just have a cup of espresso at that point. What the sound asleep system is providing is tools during the day. So when you go to sleep at night, the cortisol and the other excitatory hormones in your system are low enough that they're not going to get shot way up again. And I don't want to talk a lot about the science of all this, because I think it's more important for you to have the experience today and to see if this is something that you want to pursue and learn about more going forward. Is that helpful, June? So you are awake. You did hear the answer. Just give me a thumbs up. You listened. Yes, great. I can't hear you because you're on mute.
You make me laugh because my former husband would get so angry when he woke up in the middle of the night, he'd start cursing, which of course would wake me up. So, more to the point, I'm just laughing because you reminded me of that.
Yeah, and I remember being like that, of like, oh no, I've got to sleep. I've got all this stuff I have to do in the morning. And that's just, throwing gas on the fire. It's not helping at all. It's not helping at all. Any other questions? Allison?
If no one else has a question they want to ask, I want to make sure everyone else.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So you had a dramatic shift when you took Michael's workshop in the late 1990s. I get this question a lot, so I'm kind of wondering about your response. Did you have to, after the initial few weeks of practice, do you find that years later you still need to practice it on a regular basis, or those changes are deeper in you at this point and you don't need to practice on a regular basis? So
It depends.
yeah, okay.
Right? The non-answer answer. I'm just going to use an expletive here. Shit happens. Right? I've had to go through something very, very stressful with my husband's health the last few years. And I needed to start to do some practice during the day because I was spending all day just trying to stay on top of the world of life, right? So yes, I have to come back and do it. And I find one of the benefits of being a sound asleep distant teacher is when you teach it, you're doing it too. So I can get away with just teaching and not disciplining myself for the practice during the day. So what Allison is talking about, for those who don't know, is after you do a workshop, I send you home with a little practice sheet because you're trying to take a lifetime's worth of habit, a lifetime's worth of your brain saying, I need to send out this many excitatory stress hormones. And it starts to see that having, I'll just say, a gallon of cortisol in your bloodstream, of course, that is totally not accurate, but let's just say a gallon is like normal. I'm used to carrying around a gallon of cortisol and being like this, blah, 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 blah. And it takes a while for the brain to go, oh, you mean I only need 2 tablespoons? I don't need a gallon? Well, that seems like, I don't know. So there's going to be this old habit of production of the stress hormone for a while. But if you practice the things that you learn, for those of you who are really entrenched in a highly anxious life, if you practice it, then all you have to do is like a couple moments during the day, like 3 minutes. You sit, you close the door, you go into the bathroom at work and just sit there and do a couple of these little things that I'll show you. And you go, oh, whew. And if you do that and you keep the cortisol from building up through the day, when it comes time for the brain to do its shutdown process, it doesn't have a gallon of cortisol it has to overcome. It's just got a couple tablespoons. And it's like, oh, okay, boo, we go to sleep now. So life is not even. Things are always going to be, sometimes life is going a little okay, sometimes it's not. Sometimes we live in this world as it is right now, which is pretty bad right now. But then you look outside and the birds are still coming to the bird feeder. And that's a pretty good thing. And you got to kind of concentrate on that. Or you just go to your breath, which is still going in and out. Oh, here, we got a long question. Let's see. Supplements. I say whatever works as far as supplements go. I think it's good. And if you're also somebody who's taking any kind of sleep medication, I always say, do not stop taking your sleep medication just because you're doing a sleep workshop. You need to wean yourself off it. So magnesium is good for lots of things besides sleep. So I think it's a good thing to take, but I'm not a doctor. So I think supplements are fine. And you can also learn how to take more control over things on a regular basis. And Marcel, so that was Marcia. Where's Marcel's question? Oops. I'm working on a very old computer and it's hard for me to control the thing. Came on the way to check my work mail. Bad student. Are you a therapist, Marcel? Okay. Severe unmoving anxiety, having fits. Like epilepsy fits or just emotional fits?
Emotional fits.
Oh, okay.
A lot of moving back and forth, hand clapping, banging on chairs.
Oh, he's sometimes in bed. It's not seeing this. I wonder how people approach using nerves. Well, the whole thing is nervous system regulation. There's nothing else that we do in sound or sleep system except for that. That is the whole thing. You know, and I know the vagus nerve is the darling of 2025, and all you hear about is the vagus nerve these days. Who's the boss of the vagus nerve? The brain, the whole system. So we're because we're coming from a Feldenkrais perspective, we're always seeing everything that happens in a person as part of a system. And you can't regulate the nervous system if a person's thoughts are not regulated, if a person's diet is not regulated, if a person's health is not regulated. It's all part and parcel of the same thing. If somebody's starving to death, they're going to be stressed out, and it's more important to get food in them than to teach them how to sleep. Right? So we're always looking at what are the priorities, what does a person need. With somebody who has, very severe anxiety fits, and my brain's not working. What's it called when you have panic attacks? There's a lot of techniques that are taught, like the counting things. I had an experience with my own son who had 2 panic attacks. We interrupted it before it turned into a habit in the brain when he was in college. And I did some sound asleep stuff with him, and it just stopped the panic attacks in their tracks. So the thing about this is it's pretty darn safe. It's not going to hurt anybody. It may take longer for people with entrenched problems and entrenched anxiety and the habit of anxiety, because it's a habit just like everything else we learn. But it can't hurt. And if you can go from a gallon of cortisol to 3 quarts, that's progress.
Yeah, can I jump in here too? Because we've had some therapists take the training in the past, and there's been times where they are teaching the work before they've fully been trained in it, and it comes up as like an issue because there is a lot that goes into the training. I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, Paris, of like how to approach this work as you're learning it for yourself
Yeah.
when you're also working with clients.
Right. If you're doing this for yourself and you show it to your best friend at dinner, this next thing I'm going to show you, it's probably fine. But if you're in a position of authority and responsibility and you're working with somebody who has issues such as anxiety, and you don't really know how to read how they're taking it, it's not good. I don't know how else to say it. It's not good to do this with people until you're trained, because there's a lot of subtlety in it. And it seems like I'm just talking and blah, blah, da, 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 da. But this is why I want people to be on camera, because I want to see what's going on with their skin tone, with their breathing, with the movements of their face. All these things are going on. And we take care of that in the training. We talk about how do you back off, when to go forward, all these kinds of things. Yeah. Thank you, Eve, for pointing that out. Are there tools in this system from Tracy that address people who sleep with their mouths open? No. We don't get into that. That's a whole other ball of wax. There's several reasons for this. Mostly, a lot of it is the same son that had the panic attacks just had surgery for a deviated septum, which has prevented him from breathing through his nose when he sleeps for his 30 years on the earth. And he finally did something about it. No, we don't address that. And there's that whole book called Breathe. Is it Breathe? I've read the book, but I can't remember the title. And everybody's into like mouth breath. Oh, horrible. And there is a lot of truth to it. And the whole taping business, which is vagus nerve, is all popular now, and taping the mouth is all popular now. These things come and go. As we get older, we find this out, right, Anna?
Yes, and I was just gonna put in the chat, the book Breathe is fascinating about that. I found it very useful.
And, there's lots of stuff about breathing in the mouth and blah, blah, blah. And it's true. And it's amazing that humans have survived for quite a long time without the books. So, and deviated receptants have been around for a long time. And in the Breathe book, he does talk about it's what we eat that develops the jaw, that develops the palate, that prevents us from breathing properly. But that's a whole thing. We're not going to go over there because then we'll be gone. So back here to sounder sleep system, which is very simple. It's very simple. We have a very small but important role in the world, and that's just to help people sleep better. That's it. If they sleep better, so many other things get better, because we need sleep to heal. We need sleep to restore everything. And many people sleep without really lying down, meaning that their anti-gravity muscles along the spine, the jaw, the eyelids, the backs of the legs, they're like this the whole time. And Feldenkrais talked about people who are anxious, never let go of those anti-gravity muscles, and they don't sleep well. And he's right, they don't. So part of what we do are movements that specifically start to allow the nervous system to go, oh, I don't have to run from the tiger right now. I can let the back of my legs relax. I can let the hamstrings soften. I can let my spine become supple and soft. I can let the jaw go blah as well. Yeah. Okay, I'd like to do what we call a day tamer right now. Or Eve, what do you think? Should I do depth or kiss and smile? I think I'll do depth. I think so. This is something that I'd like you to sit in a chair for, unless you're unable to do so. Okay. Hello, Serena. Sirena on your iPhone. One of the things that Michael would always say is, how the day goes will predict how the night is. So the more we can do to reduce the constant stress and that building up of the gallon of cortisol during the day, the better the night will go. I would say 70% of the work that you do for yourself with the sounder sleep system is done during the day. And the stuff you do at bedtime or in waking at night is the other 30% that is based on what you've been building up during the day. I'll also say that 95% of the people who have trouble sleeping, it's not a medical problem. There are people who have medical issues that prevent sleep, brain injuries, strokes, things of this sort. But for most people, the reason sleep is interrupted, not satisfying, not deep enough, is because they are in a high level of stress or anxiety throughout the day, which is why it's important to address during the day. So I invite you to find a chair, and unless you spend your days lying down, sit in a chair that allows you to sit upright. If you need to have support behind your back, that's just fine. And sit in a chair where you can have your feet flat on the floor or something under your feet, so your heels are supported, so your toes are not just barely touching the floor, but so your whole foot is really on the floor. And take a moment just to sit. Don't hold your legs together. And actually, I should have said this before you were all sitting down. Grab a pillow or a towel or something to put in your lap. You can sit on the floor, that's fine. If sitting on the floor is easy for you, that's great. You can even grab a cat if you have a cat that will stay in your lap. But then we won't know if the cat is making you more relaxed or not. That looks great, Tracy. Yeah, and just grab that roller. Perfect. So just feel your feet on the floor right now. maybe bring your knees together and apart a little bit until you find a place where your knees are just more or less in front of your hip joints, not held together. There's, 5 or 10 inches in between your knees, maybe a little bit more, depends on the height of your chair, the length of your legs. And just like in the first thing we did, just without trying to change it in any way or improve it, because it's working so far, you're all alive. Just notice when you're breathing in and when you're breathing out. And your breath is going to be perhaps a little deeper because you're sitting now and you're having to hold yourself up. And you might even notice, depending on how your arms are and how your shoulders are, you may feel that when you breathe in and out, if your arms are resting along your sides, or if your shoulder blades are free, that your arms are actually moved by your breath. It's pretty interesting. You might feel your elbows are pushed away from your sides, or your upper back expands. And again, close your eyes, don't look at the computer. And notice just your state of mind right now. Are you sort of curious, calm, excited about what you're learning, or something else? And don't try and change your state of mind. Just allow whatever's going on to go on. Maybe you're thinking about, are we going to be off in time for me to get dinner? I'm getting hungry. Doesn't matter. Just see how you are. Make no effort to breathe deeply or in any special way. Just allow the breath to come and go. Notice when you breathe in, it's the easiest thing in the world. It just slides right in. And breathing out, just slides right out. And now, put your hands in your lap with the palms up. And it doesn't matter if you do right or left. I'm going to give the directions in one way, and you just translate it to the other hand if it's more comfortable for you. And have the left hand underneath the right hand, and put the pad of the left thumb in the palm of the right hand. So the fingers of the left hand are on the back of your right hand, and your left thumb is in your right palm. If that feels strain in any way in your shoulders, try the reverse and put your right thumb in your left palm. So when you look down at your hands, you see your thumbnail and your left palm and fingers, and your right palm, your right fingers are behind, resting on the pillow. And just explore a little bit with your thumb to find just the place in the center of the palm, someplace where your thumb just nestles really nicely. It just fits. It's going to be a little bit of a different place for different people. This little mini movement is called the depth. So you're just looking for the depth of your palm. It's a very, very sensitive place. And your thumb is a very, very sensitive part of yourself. It may be the part that you first became familiar with as being part of you when you learned to suck your thumb as a baby. Maybe you even learned to suck your thumb before you were born. And take a few moments to feel the contact between the pad of your thumb and the palm of your hand. Not doing anything, you're just feeling the contact. Is it your palm feeling your thumb, or is your thumb feeling your palm? That's one of those Zen questions. You might feel warmth. You might feel your pulse or tingling or any sensation in the hand or anywhere else in yourself when you have your hands in this position. And you just allow the breath to come and go in its own quiet rhythm, taking all the time you need for each breath. It doesn't mean you need to slow your breathing down or change it in any way. Your nervous system will just determine when to breathe in and when to breathe out. You don't need to do a thing. And now, as you slowly exhale, very gently and gradually press your thumb into the palm. It's the smallest amount of pressure. Anyone looking at your hands would not see you doing anything. It's just enough for you to know that somehow the pressure between your thumb and the depth of your palm is a little bit more. And then when you breathe in, you allow that pressure to recede. And then you do it again. You exhale, increase the pressure. Inhale, relax the pressure. You can even just imagine increasing the pressure. For our purposes, imagination may even be more effective than actual doing. Exhale, press. Inhale, let the pressure recede. And now rest for 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, keeping your hands together like this. And feel as the sensation in your thumb, your hands, your arms, or anywhere else in your body changed, or anything in your thought changed. And now I invite you to do the same thing, but this time, exhale and press your thumb. Inhale, let that pressure recede, and then just have one cycle of breath doing nothing. And then once again, press as you exhale, relax as you inhale. So one breath, you're doing something. The next breath, you're just observing the results. Some people find it more calming to do it like this, or allows for more focus. All the things that we teach, we invite you to experiment and find your own way. What works best for you? Doing 3 or 4 cycles of breath with the pressing and releasing, or one breath, pressing, releasing, and one full breath in and out, doing nothing. They're just variations on a theme. So whichever way you choose to do it, I invite you to stop and just rest for a few breaths with doing nothing, keeping your hands together. And then do it again, either every other breath or 3 or 4 breaths. This is a lovely thing to do during the day when you have a few moments between tasks. Or before you take a break for lunch. Or while you're waiting for the tea kettle to boil. You can't do this incorrectly. And now, slowly, slowly, allow yourself to stop doing whatever it is. And just rest with your hands together and feel the result of what you've done. Notice the sensation between the contact of your thumb and your palm, the rhythm or pattern of your breathing now, the rhythm or pattern in your mind, your thoughts, or any other aspect of yourself. This is a nice one that can be adapted to lying down on your side with your elbows bent and your hands in front of your face. If you want to try it lying down at some point. Now slowly, slowly, molecule by molecule, separate your hands. Let them rest on the pillow or in your lap. And feel how you're sitting now. Feel your feet on the floor, your bottom in the chair, your head over your spine. And in a moment, I'll invite you to open your eyes. And when you do open your eyes, don't do it yet. Don't look at the computer. Look over the computer if you're facing it, or out the window if you've got one in the room. But try and open your eyes in a way that you're not trying to see anything. And just notice if something in your vision has changed. Maybe your peripheral vision has changed, side to side and up and down. Maybe colors are brighter, or things look a little blurry or softer around the edges. Maybe you feel a different sensation in your whole face or in your chest, in your arms. That little mini movement is called the depth. So go ahead and open up your eyes. And I want to take this next 20 minutes, maybe we'll do another thing or not, depends on how involved your questions are, but I want to make sure to talk about the November workshop. And people have questions about the ongoing teacher training that will flow out of that. We can answer those questions. But first, I'd like to hear if you had any reactions or thoughts about what we just did. And you can put the questions in the chat, or you can come off of mute. It's a small enough group that I think I don't have to confine people to the chat. But how was that for you? Well, Marcel ended up lying down, so couldn't have been all bad. He started upright, fell down. I'll be in touch, Allison. Thank you. So, Marcia, are you still there, or did you go already? Oh, she went. So we need to, she's interested in the program, so we need to send her stuff. How was that for you? Everybody's nonverbal? Was it pleasant? Let's start with that. Was it irritating? It was pleasant. It was pleasant. I zoned out. Good. Did you fall asleep, June? No, you just kind of went. Okay. Anna, you and I need a long catch-up call. Okay. Your phone number is the same? Okay. I'll try and call you this week. Like I said, I don't lecture good. I don't be good at lecture. I do good with questions.
I'll talk.
Oh, good, Tracy. Thank you.
It's really incredible how, I don't know, the simplest things are always the most powerful things. They always are. What is it that's so special about this hand connection? Because I've done some of the good sleep stuff on the Feldenkrais with the little hand grip. That hand grip is
Vein squeeze.
It's really special.
So I can talk about it. So Michael was a very spiritual person, and talked about it a lot in that way, as well as in a very scientific way. But I like to confine it to just what we do know is going on. So the fingertips, and the thumb and the index finger in particular, have a lot of wiring across the brain. We learn about the world around us through this touch. Initially, it's through the mouth and the lips. So, oh, somebody just arrived. Maybe she got the time wrong. It's got a lot of real estate in the brain. And when we can change the state of the brain, that's what leads us into this calmer state. So we're using something that is going to just really quiet the nervous system down a lot, because here's the funny bit. The more we can excite certain parts of the brain, the more the brain goes, oh, we're doing something, yay. And then we stop it and the brain goes, whoosh. That's as scientific as I talk, pretty much. It's the excitatory activity of the fingers and this very sensitive area of the palm, coupled with stopping of the movement, that creates the ability for the brain to inhibit the neural firing. Anna, who is the senior practitioner in the room right now, if you want to chime in at all, go ahead, girl. But that's why it works. And that's also why the movements we do with the lips and the tongue are equally powerful. We also have movements that are very, very small movements of the postural muscles, the anti-gravity muscles that I was speaking of, because exciting them and then letting them go, exciting them and letting them go, is also a signal to the brain of, oh, tiger's coming, tiger's not
Yeah.
coming, tiger's coming, tiger's not coming.
Well, for some people, the tiger is coming and it's always coming. They don't even know that they've never let the tiger go.
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about is people are used to having a gallon of cortisol. They don't know that there's another way of being. They don't know that calm and alert during the day is a possibility. And our ancestors lived that way. The tiger would come, you'd either get eaten or you wouldn't.
Yeah.
If you weren't, everything was fine again. And you didn't worry about it. And if we just look to other mammals that don't do all this thinking stuff, dogs that live together, that are friends, they'll get in a fight and then it's done.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about this is something that I've been saying recently in my workshops, is if you look across the rest of the mammalian world, none of them sleep in 8-hour chunks or 4-hour chunks or 10-hour chunks. They sleep and they get up and they do stuff, and then they sleep and they get up and they do stuff. They don't go all day and sleep all night. That's just not the way mammals are built. But because of, oh gosh, I forgot his name, the guy who invented the steam engine in Scotland.
Oh.
And then Henry Ford. Because of the whole industrial revolution.
The light bulb.
The light bulb. But before the light bulb, when productivity became the king versus quality, the work changed. And then people had to be regulated. But our ancestor peasants, even the Monty Python down in the mud peasants, they only worked for 5 or 6 hours. The rest of the time was walking to the field, carrying the laundry to the stream, picking the burrs out of the wool. There was a lot more contemplative time for our ancestors. And then the tiger would come and they'd have to run and they'd get all stressed out and then it would be done. Anna?
It was also, we used waking up as a way of making sure that the rest of the tribe was safe. So the waking up in the middle of the night is actually got good purpose rather than stewing in the brain. It's like, check it out. Okay, we're here. The bed's here. The roof is good. They're asleep. Go back to sleep.
I have to feed the fire again.
Yeah, it's all good.
And also, we have to do things to help ourselves sleep better in modern society because we're also not sleeping the way our biology was designed to sleep, which was in packs. We weren't meant to sleep alone. We slept in a pack of people who were watching out for the tiger, so we knew we could sleep. So we get into this in the training program, talk about the history, and there's lots of stuff you can read. And the thing is about sleep research keeps changing. So 5 years ago, they were saying that most adults needed between 8 and 10 hours of sleep. They've changed that again. So I don't really know what to tell people. Now they're saying it's really more like 8 to 9. But it's not 6. But again, biology. You've got your Jack Russells and you got your Basset Hounds. They're all dogs. You got your go people and you got your laid back people. So there's going to be a variation. There's not a certain structure, but more than 6 hours is pretty much it. And they tend to sleep 8 hours until we are elderly. Also there's a lot of other stuff goes on when we're elderly. We're not exerting ourselves physically. I bet if you walked for 8 hours, you would sleep for 8 hours. There's a lot more sitting around and napping when we're elderly too. Oh, Hannah said bye-bye. Tamara, you were late in coming. Do you have any questions? You can type them into the chat if you'd like. Or anybody else?
Yeah, maybe I can just jump in
Okay.
and talk a little bit about the upcoming workshop. So Michael, he used to name his kind of these intensive 3-day weekends seminars. And Paris is going to be teaching one uh, beginning of November, so the November 7th to 9th in southern Vermont, in a little town called Saxons River, where she lives at a beautiful school there, the Vermont Academy. And it's about 5 hours of training a day. What else should we say about it?
We are close to an Amtrak station. If you're coming up from New York, doesn't do you any good if you're coming from Boston. But we do have people coming up from Boston. There will be carpools, and we are doing our best to find all sorts of affordable housing. There's a few bed and breakfasts right in the village here. So if you'd come without a car, you could walk to where we're going to be. And there's lots of Airbnbs if you have a car that are within an easy driving distance as well.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place to kind of think of it as like a retreat for yourself for 3 days and outside of the city. And this first, so this weekend in November, it serves as the first module for the teacher training, which is 3 weekends. And that's for people who want to use this work in their teaching and their practice with their clients. Um, so you can either come and just do this weekend just for yourself and your own um, personal growth and healing, or you can come and check it out and then maybe continue with the teacher training.
And you can do the whole training without wanting to help anybody else but yourself too. You just use the middle segment in February, or is it January? January is online because Vermont winter driving decided to do the middle section online. And then we'll be back here in the middle of May.
Yeah.
The last 3 days. And yeah.
Yeah, so I put the link in the
Amtrak line. So I see somebody calling in or visiting us from Asheville and Bethesda. You could just hop on a train. Asheville would be a long train ride. The closest airports are all 2 hours away. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. There is a bus that goes from Boston to Lebanon, New Hampshire, where Dartmouth is. And then we can arrange pickup from there if people want to do that.
And so there won't be an online option for this November segment. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put the information in the chat again. We had tried doing a hybrid training segment, and it was just too much to pay attention to the people in the room, people on Zoom. So we like to try to keep our attention in one place.
I do have, and I will put it in if I can get this. Oh, I don't know if I can do it on this computer. I did a program. If you really need something at home, if you can't travel, it's called A Good Night's Sleep. And you can purchase it through my website, which is pariskern.com.
Yeah, I can get that.
Can you get the link to the page with Good Night's Sleep and put that in there? June, where are you in the world normally?
I'm in Boston, but I will be in Florida for 6 months,
Oh, okay.
which, yeah, other direction.
Okay, well, I assume that we have your email so we can keep you updated on things.
That'd be great. And I will look into your suggestion that you just posted here.
So is that through Feldenkrais Accent or is that from my website? Because we need to do the one from my website.
That's the one through your website.
Right. So that's 6 hours of this stuff.
Okay.
With some Feldenkrais. So
it's a really good introduction. And for people who are considering the teacher training, we have a prerequisite of either taking this Feldenkrais Access series if you're not a Feldenkrais practitioner, or having done 10 awareness through movement Feldenkrais lessons, just so you can get that language into your bones. And one other thing I wanted to say is that we have an early bird price for the training to save $100. And that would be if you signed up by this Wednesday, October 8th, which is 30 days before the training. We also have a discount if you're a Feldenkrais practitioner. And there's a discount if you're coming from more than 150 miles. There's also a discount for local residents, but I don't think anybody here is from Vermont. So, yeah.
and we are looking for one work study person who knows how to edit video from Zoom.
That's true. Yeah. If
Ready.
you're thinking about coming and you have some technical skills, you can edit audio. Definitely reach out to me or to Paris, and we can talk about having a work study position. All right. Any last questions? We just have a few minutes left. Thanks for being here.
I'll just leave you all with a little bit of kiss and smile, which normally goes on for a lot longer, but it's so simple that I think you can get the gist of it, and you could play with it on your own tonight when you go to bed. So you can lie down, you can lean back on your chair. Just make sure you're comfortable. You can lie on your side or your back or your belly, any way you want. And just let your mouth and your face and your shoulders and your arms and your elbows and your wrists be soft and relaxed. Your belly is free to move as it breathes in and out. And if you ever watched a baby sleep, sometimes when babies sleep, you see their mouths doing this little movement as if they're imagining sucking on the nipple. It's this very, very slight little movement. So just feel how you are in your lips and in your cheeks. Are you clenching your teeth? And you let your jaw relax a little bit, just so the back teeth are not being held together. Feel your breath coming in and out. And the next time you breathe out, just push your lips forward a little bit as if you wanted to give just a little kiss. Or say you wanted to make the little sound, ooh, but very slightly, maybe even so small that somebody looking at you really wouldn't see anything. You breathe out and you just push your lips forward. The opening be no more than a small straw. If you want, you can put an index finger in front of your lips and just take the fingertip away enough that you're not touching the lips, and just extend your lips just to touch that fingertip. It's only the thickness of a piece of paper away from touching as you exhale. And stop that. And just notice if even after just 30 seconds of this, if something feels a little softer anywhere in yourself, your belly, your cheeks, your neck. And now the next time you're ready to inhale, just start a little Mona Lisa smile. It's as if you're bemused. It's not a big laughy smile. It's just that little smile, that mysterious smile like Mona Lisa as you inhale. And you may feel that when you do that, as you inhale and do that little smile, maybe you even feel a little movement in the back of your neck or in your spine or in your lower back. The muscles that make you smile, the muscles that breathe in, and the muscles along your neck and spine are all part of a system. And then when you exhale, now add the little kiss. And you just go back and forth, inhaling a Mona Lisa smile, exhaling, and a little invisible kiss. And I'll leave you with that. You all have Eve's email. She can send you my contact, but it's easy. You just go to pariskern.com, hit contact me. It's also easy email address, pariskern@comcast.net. Reach out to Eve if you're interested in the training. If you have any other questions about this, you can reach out to either one of us. And I'll bid you adieu. And if you wish to keep sleeping, you can. If you want to come off mute and say hi, bye, you're welcome to do that. Hello, Serena. I'm not sure how to say your name. Hope she just left. Oh, there you are. You're on mute, Serena. Don't know how to unmute? You're on. It's hard. You must be on a phone. It's hard on a phone.
I unmuted. Thank you very much. I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's been wonderful, and I will follow through. I
All
will
right.
be in touch. Thank you.
But say your name for me so I know how to say it.
It's Irina.
Irina.
Irina. Mhm.
Okay, because it's SE before the Irina.
That's what the phone does.
Oh, iPhone SE Irina. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Thank you.
Irina. Thank you. Inga, I didn't see you, but thanks for coming. Carmen, I didn't see you. Thanks for coming. And our mysterious iPhone Deepak. Thank you. Oh, Tracy, great. Are you going to drive or take the train?
I want to come to this so badly.
Okay.
So, I don't care how I get there. I would just like to get there.
Well, the drive is nice.
And I've never been to Vermont. What a great time to come.
But once you're here, you need a car unless you just want to walk around the village. And the village
I
is
love
literally
that.
one street. So once you've done the village, you've done the village.
If I can train and walk, like I don't need a car.
Okay.
It'll all be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Paris. That was great.
And you're going to make it available to other people and those
Yeah.
100 people who signed up?
Yeah, we'll send it out. So.
Okay.
All right. Have a good
Do you
night.
have any other questions? No. Okay.
Okay.
Eve,
Signing
we'll
off.
talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.